Turning on the mic helps. Thank you, Kevin. Good morning. And what a glorious morning it is. The sun is welcoming us here today, and we bask in the warmth it provides us. We are bathed in the same warmth as we gather today in community, in person, on Zoom, hello, or later in the pre-recorded video. My name is Steph Tacey, for those of you who don't know me, and I want to welcome each and every one of you here today. I extend a special welcome to any first-time visitors. We are so glad you are here with us. Please know that Meredith Meyer from our Board of Trustees is here to answer any questions or give a tour after the service. And she maybe out, okay, so she is still outside greeting people as they come in. Today's service is led by a wonderful group of Heritage members and friends. April Theriault, Ellie Lamb, Louise Luore, Frank Collins, Mimi Sinclair, and Tracy Joe. Each of them have lived and shared their earth-centered beliefs with our community and beyond our walls, well over many years. Today, they guide us as we experience earth-centered ritual and the various ways those rituals touch us spiritually. As we prepare for worship, please remember to turn off any electronic devices or place them in airplane mode. Your orders of service will show you the flow of the service and list the upcoming opportunities for being involved in this community. I would also like to mention that we record our worship services, and portions of them are made into a video that can be viewed at a later time through a link on our church website. However, we never include parts of the service that have confidential information in them, such as our candles of community ritual, when we share our personal joys and sorrows. Now, I have one last announcement that will bring joy to your hearts. You are all invited to gather in the Great Hall after the service for coffee, donuts, and conversation. Yes, coffee hour is back, my friends. And on that happy note, let's take a moment to pause, breathe in slowly, and let it out slowly. As you settle your body, allow your heart and mind to open and become ready to receive.
Good morning. My name is Mimi Sinclair. Today, we gather in our sacred space, understanding that it stands on land that was stolen from Native peoples who lived here for centuries and honored all of Mother Earth as holy. From the ancient Hopewell and Adena peoples to others whose more recent remains have been found in this area, and that includes the Shawnee, Potawatomi, Mississauga Cree, Ottawa, Miami, Kickapoo, Wyandot, Seneca, Delaware, and Tutelos. We recognize that our sacred space is built on your sacred place.
Good morning, everyone. My name is April, and we're going to take a moment to set the space. So I want to invite everyone to close their eyes and relax for a moment. Notice how closing your eyes automatically moves your attention within. and causes your breath to deepen and lengthen without any effort on your part. In his novel, Dubliners, James Joyce wrote of his character, Mr. Duffy, that he lived a short distance from his body. And this is how most of us live. Modern life is a life lived in the head, in the mind, and not very much in the body. But for this time and this space, allow your attention to be in your body, on how your body feels from the inside. Let your focus rest gently in the middle of your body. And just be attentive to what you feel inside as we move through these words. We are gathered today around the final source of our 6 UU sources, which is stated as spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. And so let us begin with the sacred circle of life. In this space, you are within a sacred circle. You are within concentric circles. This is very intentionally not a linear formation. This is a communal formation. Rather than a single leader whom everyone faces, which lends itself to individuals and hierarchies, in a circle, we are looking at each other. All are equal. Leadership is collaborative. This whole world is not linear. We know from physics that space and even time itself, much as it may appear to be, is not linear. Everything moves in cycles on this planet. Sun cycles, growing cycles, moon cycles, seasonal cycles, water cycles, life cycles. Everything is life, death, and rebirth. Everything is creation, destruction, and renewal, endlessly turning and returning. This world is all wheels within wheels, as the poet W.B. Yeats called it. In this moment, you are surrounded by your community. In this moment, you are also surrounded by your animal kin, too. Let these 4 walls, these arbitrary structures fade in your imagination. Hawk and crow are above you. Fox and rabbit are beside you. Worm and beetle are below you. We are surrounded by animal life. We are animal life, lest we forget that. You are surrounded by a vast multiplicity of plant kin, a green blanket of life that stretches in all directions as far as your eyes can see. Each and every moment of our lives are held in the bowls of valleys, sheltered by hills and mountains. Each and every moment of our lives, we are surrounded by the vast waters of the one great ocean. The wheel of stars above watches over you always. The moon accompanies you in your dreams. The rocks and the dirt below you provide the canvas upon which your life unfolds. The whole web of creation surrounds you in this moment, in every moment. You are not ever alone. Above you is your Father who art in the heavens, the Son, the Father of all life on this planet. Below you is your mother, the earth beneath your feet, from whose body we come, upon whose body we rely for everything needed to sustain life. And within the body of our mother are the ancestors bearing you up. The past is not behind you, it is below you. The dead are beneath you, so that you may stand upon their shoulders. Everywhere your foot falls upon the ground, the dead are supporting you. You stand atop a column of ancestors that stretches all the way down back to deep time. Time so deep that we can't even begin to fathom it. And when it is your time to join the ancestors, you will bear up the children, the descendants. In this way, you are surrounded, held, and oriented in all space and in all time. Every moment of your life, from womb to tomb, you are surrounded on every side by the sacred circle of life. You are the sacred circle of life, as much a part of it as the earth you walk on, the air you breathe, the fire that warms you, and the waters that you drink. Indeed, you are the earth, the air, the fire, and the waters. And so, let us now pay homage to these directions and these forces, which are the very building blocks of our bodies and our lives.
It's customary to call in the directions in the pagan tradition. We're going to use our bodies and then our voices. So whether you're at home or on Zoom, if you'd stand up, please. We're going to face the east. In this room, that's the door you came in. At home, if you just look for the sun, where did the sun rise this morning? And that's the east for you. Spirits of the east, we honor you, we welcome you. The wind that blows through time and space across the lands, everything that is born rises up in this direction. Babies, puppies, ideas, friendship. Welcome, spirits of the east.
And if you'll turn to your right, we're facing the patio outside here in the church. Spirits of the South, place of inspiration and passion, the element of air, the color red, whose warm breath reminds us of summer days. Ignite our hearts with love. Welcome, energies of the South.
If you'll turn to your right, is the mic on? Yes. If you'll turn to your right, face the great window. Spirits of the West. The element. It's on. Oh, yeah. Spirits of the West, the element of water, the land of the setting sun, of letting go and of death. The cycle of life tells us that all things must die and move in this direction. Plants, people, cars, and stars. Welcome, spirits of the West.
And now if you turn to face the parking lot, and we'll greet the north. Spirits of the north, place of quiet, of stillness, of ancestors of cave and deep earth, place of thankfulness for the knowledge and blessings that have come to us through time. Welcome, spirits of the north.
And now please face the center altar. Spirits of above and below, of the angelic realms, the place of union, love, and reverence. We open our hearts and join with all in love. Welcome. The circle is cast. It has begun.
I invite everyone to stand. Air moves us, fire transforms us, water shapes us, earth heals us, and the balance of the wheel goes round and round, and the balance of the wheel goes round. Air moves us, fire transforms us, water shapes us, earth heals us, and the balance of the wheel goes round and round, and the balance of the wheel goes round. Air moves us, fire transforms us, water shapes us, earth heals us, and the balance of the wheel goes round and round, and the balance of the wheel goes round. Air moves us, fire transforms us, water shapes us, earth heals us, and the balance of the wheel goes round and round, and the balance of the wheel goes round. Air moves us, fire transforms us, water shapes us, earth heals us, and the balance of the wheel goes round and round, and the balance of the wheel goes round.
Time for all ages. If you are any age and like to hear a story, would you come up and you can sit here? Come into the center of the circle. My name is Tracy Joe. Welcome. Yeah, there's so many fun things on the altar, and you're welcome to look at them, and later on, maybe we'll pass them around. I do have some things that I'll be passing around you'll be able to hold and touch. Many, many, many years ago, before you were born, and before you were born, and before your mother was born, and before your mother was born, and before your mother's mother was born, before your mother's mother's mother was born. Oh, so many years ago. April reminded us that time is not linear, it's a spiral. But we do like to count. We know today is Sunday, tomorrow is Moon Day. Yesterday was Saturn's Day, Saturday. So many, many years ago, there was a goddess. And we know this because they were able to dig this goddess up out of the ground. There are about 200 of these little figures. I'm going to pass some of them around, and I'm just holding them up. They're real small. The real one, the one that was dug up out of the ground, is probably about this big. So this one's a little bit smaller, so it's really perfect for you. But notice that she doesn't really have any feet. So she wasn't designed to stand on an altar. She was designed, perhaps, we think, a lot of things are mysteries. We think that she was designed for you to hold her in your hand, or maybe in a pocket or a pouch. So I'm going to pass a couple of these around. If you look at this one closely, she's actually giving birth. How cool is that? That's how we all got here. These little figures are about 200 in what we call history. But those figures are from what they call prehistoric times. Oh, that's a big word, prehistoric. Let's break that down. Does anybody know what pre means? take a guess. Yes. Before, exactly. It means before. And then historic comes from the word history. What do we know about that word? Let's break that down. Probably never thought about it before. Yeah? Yes, but let's listen to the word history. His story. So who do you think told that story? Boys or girls? His story. Boys. Yeah, boys usually told that story. So as a girl, sometimes I get a little frustrated. And you're like, well, where's the girl's story? It's all about the his story. Where's the her story? And then I thought, well, oh, prehistoric, these figures are from the time before he started telling the story. Yeah. Amazing. And April reminded us that everything is a circle, a cycle, a spiral. So hopefully it's going to come back around to the time where it's not going to be just his story anymore. It's going to be, we don't know, maybe her story, maybe our story. I don't know. We'll see. So I have some other figures here. Over time, you can see, oh, this one. Now this one, she got broken. She had a broken neck. This one came from Connie Booth, and she gifted her to me. I went off to Greece and came back and said, huh, she was from the island of Crete. I didn't even know it. I know. So I'm not going to pass this one around because she got broken once, but she's on a little pedestal. That's not how she came out of the ground. That's not how she was worshipped or honored. Over time, we started to take those little, what we call those prehistoric figures, and give them more attributes. We started to put clothes on them. Those don't have clothes. We gave them hats and holding things, and they have bigger arms, and she has clothes. Now this one's a little bit different, so she doesn't have quite so many clothes, but she has a bigger halo, but she's got a big belly. And then over time, she began to get some interesting shapes. There's another one like her on here. This one reminds me a little bit of a Barbie doll. Right? That no one in my life that I know has a figure like this. Doesn't exist in my world. But, and I'll pass her around. We can pass these around. And this one, this one is actually, she's holding two snakes, but she didn't come out of the ground that way. So over time, the goddesses then began to appear with men. Sometimes she was holding a baby. So we already saw that. She's birthing. Now, we don't know what that little one, we don't know what gender she was birthing. But then she begins to hold, or then perhaps the male is standing beside her. And then eventually the male appears to be bigger. Now in this one, the male is not dramatically bigger than the female, but if we looked at pictures over time and artifacts over time, the male gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the female gets smaller and smaller and smaller until she just disappears. She's gone. And then we have to dig her up after 40,000 years, or 200,000, we don't know. A lot of this is mystery. So you have an opportunity. Later, also, look, this one's got, she's got lots of clothes on and big So over time, the goddess disappeared, and I love that April reminded us that it's a spiral, so she might be coming back. She is coming back. We have her on our altar today. We have many different representations of her: flowers, seeds, crystals, and that beautiful chalice. I want to honor that our very own Chris Whitaker crafted that chalice with her own two hands. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. So children and adults have the opportunity now to come over and grab some clay, and you can craft your own goddess in your own vision, whatever you think she might look like. You can use some of these as inspiration, or you can just create what you think a goddess might look like. You can include the male if you want. You can not. You can make it your own. You get to decide. It's our story. It's your story, rather than just his story. So thank you. Come on. We can come over here and if you want to come over and sculpt, and then the ushers can pass around some modeling clay. If you want some modeling clay, raise your hand, and the ushers will bring some around to you.
Hi, my name is Ellie Lamb. I'm going to pull this down while I speak. And while they're modeling clay there, I'm going to go on with a, responsive reading, I think it says in your programs. And it is on the board there up there for you, so you can follow along with me. Now, this is a Chinook prayer. It's an Ohio River blessing. The Chinook were multiple tribes in the northwest of the U.S., in Washington and Oregon. They all spoke a similar language. And their lifeline was the Columbia River watershed. So this prayer, which was written by, I think that I have to look at the program here, because this, it was quoted by Edward Goldsmith, adapted by Jill Korak, but it was written, it's on the wall, yes, there we are. Chief Jerry Johnson in the Chinook homelands, and I've told you where that is. November 18th, 2005. So it's adapted, and now it's the Ohio River Valley blessing, because we also have a wonderful watershed here that we live along. This is responsive. Your response is simple. It's teach us and show us the way. And I think that my speech will also be on the wall there so that you can read that. So we'll begin the blessing. We call upon the earth, our planet home, with its beautiful depths and soaring heights, its vitality and abundance of life. And together we ask that it teach us and show us the way. We call upon the rolling hills of our Ohio River Valley, the high green pastures and meadows filled with tall grasses and wild flowers, the vibrant autumnal colors, the confluence of where many rivers meet, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the waters that rim the earth, horizon to horizon, that flow in our rivers and streams, that fall upon our gardens and fields. And we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the land which grows our food, the nurturing glacial soil we live upon, the fertile fields, the abundant gardens and orchards, and we ask that they teach us, show us the way. We call upon the forests, the great trees reaching strongly to the sky with earth in their roots and the heavens in their branches, the sycamore and maple, the oak and redbud, and we ask them to teach us and show us the way. We call upon the creatures of the rivers, forests, fields, our brothers, our sisters, the fox and the deer, the red-tailed hawk and owl, the snake and turtle, the bluegill and the frog, who share our Ohio River Valley home. We ask them to teach us and show us the way. We call upon all those who have lived on this earth, our ancestors and our friends, who dreamed the best for future generations and upon whose lives are built. And with thanksgiving, we call upon them to teach us and show us the way. And lastly, we call upon all that we hold most sacred, the presence and power of the great spirit of love and truth which flows through all the universe, to be with us, to teach us and show us the way. Thank you. Aaron?
Good morning. I'm Erin Walzewski, and I'm here to talk to us about our sharing of abundance. Most of you know that every week our weekly offering goes not to the church, but to a local nonprofit that we want to support with our gifts, and especially one that connects with the theme that we've chosen for this week. So this week, with the theme of nature, the nonprofit we're supporting is the Cincinnati Nature Center. By a show of hands, how many of you have been to the Cincinnati Nature Center? So you already know what I'm going to say. What I want you to do is to take a quick minute right now to greet the person next to you and say either something you like about nature or some time that you've been to the Cincinnati Nature Center. So take 30 seconds right now to greet your neighbor and say something about nature. Can we use a tambourine?
Okay.
All right. With all of those wonderful thoughts about nature in mind, please keep in mind that the Cincinnati Nature Center does a lot of things, 20 miles of trails. Those of you who have been to Heritage Acres know that as beautiful as trails are, they take resources to maintain. So I know that many of you may be members already of the Cincinnati Nature Center, but we will now pass our offering plates, or baskets as the case may be, to show our support for Cincinnati Nature Center. It's harder in the circle configuration. These offerings are gratefully received.
Jihif Konotahativ. That was Irish. I'm Frank Collins. My ancestors come entirely from the island of Ireland, mostly in 3 counties in the west. My grandparents. Oh, take my mask off. All right. Did you hear what I said? Jihif Konotatashiv. That means, hi, how are you? My name is Frank Collins. I'm entirely Irish. My grandparents were born in Ireland. So it's a very wet place. The ocean refuses no river. The river refuses no stream. The stream refuses no rain. The rain is the gift of the gods, and Danu is the mother, water, and the mother of all. As the Celts moved westward from the steppes of Eurasia, they left the name of their goddess Danu on the rivers, the Don in Russia, the Donets and the Dnieper in the Ukraine, the Dniester in the next country, in Romania, the Donau, which we also know as the Danube, and a few small rivers in England called the Don. Galway gets 113 inches of rain per year. Cincinnati, for all our rain, only gets 45. And Seattle, which it's famous for, only gets 39. The history of water and holy wells in Ireland and in Irish myth go back thousands of years, even before the Celts got there, because some of the ancient monuments are now more than 5,000 years old, and the wells were there then. Ireland is home to more than 3,000 holy wells, each attached to their own legends and healing properties, and later the saints came in. These holy wells have been sites of worship and prayer for many centuries and are still visited today by those who seek miraculous healing cures by the holy waters and to offer prayers. They may be as large as a cathedral, like the Well of Bridget in Kildare, or as small as a shopping cart, as the Well of St. Cathbart in Donegal. So, believe in a further shore, which is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. To experience the genius of water, now is the time for us to have an aspersion or blessing with the Heritage Collected Holy Water. A blessing on each of you, your people, in the north, in the west, in the south, in the east, and in the center, where there is sovereignty. The eternal power of the universe has gathered itself to create the world with true and grand harmony. We pray for healing and blessing on the waters. We pray for healing and blessings on the sea. We pray for healing and blessing on the rivers, that they may shine in crystal purity. You will play a little. Thank you.
Please join us. Stand as you are willing and able, and join us as we sing, I Release Myself.
Before we start, I want to say that this is a song by Linda Smith Kaler, who has written many songs that we sing in our women's singing circle. This song has a lot of motions that were created. They're not sign language. They were put together by Jennifer Powers, who likes to use motions to help us get the feel of the song. So we're going to sing it through 3 times, and it's a lot of fun. We think the kids are going to love this song. And as you get the hang of it, join in the motions with us. What was our note? I release myself like a bear who has been long asleep. I release myself like a flower that's been locked up in a seed. I release myself like a river that's been locked up in ice. I release myself like the sun from the rule of the night, and I will crawl out of my cave and rub the sleep out of my eyes, and I will burst out of my seed to stretch and open wide, and I will ease into my fluid self to bend and flow and run. And I will step out of the shadows to brilliantly shine with the sun. Again, I release myself like a bear who has been long asleep. I release myself like a flower that's been stored up in a seed. I release myself like a river that's been locked up in ice. I release myself like the sun from the rule of the night, and I will crawl out of my cave and rub sleep out of my eyes, and I will burst out of my seed to stretch and open wide, and I will ease into my fluid self to bend and flow and run, and I will step out of the shadows to brilliantly shine with the sun. One more time. I release myself like a bear who has been long asleep. I release myself like a flower that's been stored up in a seed. I release myself like a river that's been locked up in ice. I release myself like the sun from the rule of the night, and I will crawl out of my cave and rub the sleep out of my eyes, and I will burst out of my seed to stretch and open wide, and I will ease into my fluid self to bend and flow and run, and I will step out of the shadows to brilliantly shine with the sun. You are all terrific. Thank you.
Let me get our place here. All right, so each week we gather for our ritual of candles, gathering around our fires, literally and spiritually. Fires that burn brightly, providing warmth of community as we bend and flow and run and step out of the shadows to brilliantly shine. We do so remembering our ancestors who gathered fires throughout the centuries, flames that brought warmth, warded off dangers, and allowed them to share their stories. We can imagine our ancestors gathering to share stories of their day. It gave an expanded sense of what it meant to be alive. We are reminded through these same fires of our connection to all that is, was, and will be. We are reminded of our expanded sense of life and our place in community, whether small or expansive, always connected. So in a moment, I'll share the candles of fire that were submitted before the service. The chat is being opened for any of you on Zoom who have a joy or sorrow to share. And I will read those once everyone in the sanctuary has had a chance to offer their joys and sorrows. And please remember that you are always welcome to have a candle lit in silence. And each time someone shares a joy, Mimi will light the candle for you. So our first candle, and now we light a final candle to honor the energy that connects all of us with ones here in this moment, ones who came before, and ones who will come after. We honor our relationships with Mother Earth and the interdependent web of life. This final flame is lit for all that is in our hearts, whether we give voice to it or it remains there unspoken.
The ancient Chinese have a wish for good or ill. May you live in interesting times. And it is certain that we do. But when we step back and take the long view, we're reminded that these times are only momentary episodes in the deep time of human history and earth history. And we see that throughout countless generations, our forebears honed their capacity to weather adversity and to respond collectively and creatively to enormous challenges. Today, we're going to look back and collect the gifts that our ancestors offered. What's following will be a guided meditation. We'll be using our bodies, especially our ears, but if you'd like to, also your feet. You're invited, if you choose, to walk through this process. It's called an ancestor walk, and walking may help you experience the ritual, but you may also stay seated and do your walking with your mind and your heart. So if you'd like to participate in walking, please come and stand outside the last ring of the chairs. You're invited to leave your shoes behind if you choose. And as you stand there, face into the circle with your right shoulder. If you get tired during the ritual walk, you are welcome to sit. It will take about 8 minutes, so you can return to your seat at any time. Or if you're seated and you choose to join the walkers, you're free to do that as well, just being mindful of where people's bodies are. So walkers, we invite you to walk slowly, to lower your gaze, and to keep your eyes soft. So open so that you don't walk into anyone, but soft enough that you can pay attention to the words. And seated folks, consider having your eyes closed or open as it works for you. Folks on Zoom, if you have a space to get up and walk, feel free to do that, or to sit and join the journey in your hearts. So we're going to begin with some soft music to play while we're walking. And when we're finished, we'll invite the walkers to return to their seats, and the music will continue, and we'll have a brief period of silent meditation just to reflect on the process. So let's begin. We're standing on the brink of time. Change is all around us, and you can begin walking now. But we have been given all we need to survive. So take this journey through time to discover the gifts our ancestors have left for us. Where we stand today, as you begin walking, moving forward with your steps, but moving backward in time. Move back through the events of today to your waking up. Keep walking through the events of last week, of this past month, of times at home, at work, at school, in your community. Move back through the months to the turn of the year. And now you're walking back through last year and its seasons and its encounters. Keep walking back in time through the decades of your own life. For adults, you may see moments with your children, perhaps the loss of someone dear. Encounter your relationships, your adventures, and your challenges. You're moving back through your young adulthood, and now through your childhood, which our children here can experience. Moments of hope and heartache. See the places and the faces that you know and remember. See yourself as a newborn, held in loving arms. What is alive in you did not begin at your conception. So step back into the lives of your parents, their relationship that gave you life. Move back through the work they did, the struggles they faced, and the times they lived in. Move back through their teen years, their childhood, and their birth. Continue walking back into the lives of your grandparents and your great-grandparents, back through the last 2 centuries, the wars, the explosions of technology and innovation, before moonwalks, before cars or telephones or electricity. back into the lives of ancestors whose names you may not remember. Still, from them, a gesture or a smile or a turn of the head lives on in you. Move back along the river of life into the lives of your people. Perhaps they were native to this land and faced great change and great loss, or traveled across oceans to come to an unknown place, seeking or fleeing or in chains. You are moving back through the centuries now, through wars and revolutions, through times of new discoveries, of tilling the earth, generations of ancestors, some settled for centuries in place, others roaming or carried off to far lands. Move back into simpler, harsher times, marked by the turns of the season and the turns of the wheel. Back through times of plague and torment and want, walking back through the lives of men and women who were peasants, aristocrats, scholars, artisans, thieves, or sailors. Even then, they carried you within them like a seed. These are your ancestors. Back through the lives of ancestors who were versed in the ancient arts, storytellers, healers with eyes like yours, hands like yours, baking bread, gathering herbs, ministering to others. You are passing back through the rise and fall of entire civilizations, thousands of years passing, early cities rising from the clay, before the land was tilled into parcels that were owned, back before your ancestors kept herds of goats and sheep. Keep walking back farther. Enter the long treks of your ancestors across continents, small groups in forest settlements, and then on long migrations. Keep walking back through the thousands of years, through the last ice age, before cave painting, before stone tools, back through the millennia you walk with them to your beginnings, 20 or 30,000 years ago. Can you remember? It is in the heartland of Africa. And now you stop. Please stop and turn around. And now, with the very first ones, you stand at the edge of the forest. Look out over the savannah. The journey of all your people lies ahead. You cannot imagine what it will bring or the challenges you will face. So begin walking again, walking forward on that journey, retracing your steps, returning through time. You come from an unbroken line of survivors, and each has gifts to bestow. Whether literally or figuratively, you might open your arms and your hands to receive the gifts and gather them in. These people are giving you the texture of your skin, the shape of your back, and the marrow of your very bones. They give you courage and strength and perseverance as they travel through the land, hunting, playing, making babies, and dying. Take these gifts. Take the joy of young girls splashing in a stream 30,000 years ago. Come forward through the years and harvest the gifts of your ancestors, receiving all that you need. Walking up through the centuries, see the trust in the eyes of children, the passion in the eyes of the young. See the wisdom in the eyes of the aged, and receive these as gifts. Receive the creativity of your ancestors, making tools, weaving cloth, and building homes. The compassion of your ancestors, caring for the injured and praying for the dying, That is a gift to you. Know their love for beauty, hands that carved sacred images of the goddess, who played music on a flute coming from the hills, feet that were dancing to the rhythm of drums. Receive their celebration as a gift to you. Know the intelligence of your ancestors as they track the movement of the stars, learn the ways of the plants and the animals, hold councils to choose wise action. Receive their intelligence as their gift. Can you sense the love that burns in your ancestors, their devotion to their families and their land? Receive that love as a gift to you. Relish their wit and their humor, your ancestors' jokes and jibes as they work together, the banter of your people, the merriment of festivals. Receive the laughter of your ancestors as their gift to you. Your ancestors have gifts from their suffering as well: courage, endurance, resilience, and stubborn perseverance. Receive these as their gifts to you. Moving through the centuries, receive all the gifts your ancestors offer. And you're entering now the 20th century and the lives of your grandparents and your parents. Receive the gifts that they offer. Take the strength of your parents, and especially that very personal gift to you, the gift of your own life. Move forward through the years of your life. Accept the gift of your experiences, what you've learned through your joys and sorrows, your fierce caring for the world. Coming now to the present moment, please stop. You are once again on a brink of time. You cannot see clearly the way ahead or imagine what will be asked of you. But you do not go forward into the future empty-handed. The ancestors who loved and tended this earth and who cared for each other offer you the strength you need now to do what needs to be done so that your journey and theirs will continue. So I now invite the walkers to return to your seats and invite you all into a time of silent reflection as we listen to the soft music. May you carry the gifts of your ancestors into today and the rest of your life. Thank you.
Please stand as you are willing and able, and join our choir who will lead us in our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
Join us now as we release the directions. You may raise your hands up or below because we say, "Hail and farewell, spirits of the above and the below, the angelic realms. Stay if you can, go if you must. The circle is open but unbroken. Blessed be."
Turn and face the parking lot. Hail and farewell, spirits of the north. Thank you for your guidance today. Hail. Turn and face the west toward the round window.
Hail and farewell, spirits of the west. Thank you for your guidance today. Turn to your left towards the fourth.
Hail and farewell, energies of the south. Thank you for your presence and guidance today.
Turn to your left to face the east. Hail and farewell, spirits of the east. Thank you for your guidance and presence today. Woo! The circle is open but unbroken. Blessed be. Feel free to take some flowers with you when you go. Extinguishing the chalice. And we're going to gather in a circle.
Yeah. Can I break in here somewhere? Thank you very much. Please join us. Take a look around at all of the loving people that are part of our community as you recite each line after me of our beloved benediction. May the Spirit of life, that each of us possesses, flow from one to the other. May it stay with us. And bring us peace and harmony. Until we meet again. Blessed be.